Good evening, Generation Z. This is Camden here. Dave is doing great on his road trip. Appreciate all the comments. But news doesn't stop, so we aren't either. Bringing you today's news and some yesterday's. It's a lot. It's a wild one. Up first, the main prosecution witness in Netanyahu's corruption trial dies in a plane crash in Greece. Now, this happened today, not long ago. Jaron was a prosecution witness, and he died in a private plane crash. The Israeli Foreign Ministry found the only two victims of the plane crash. According to an official statement, Jaron and his wife were off to the island of Samos on a private plane. The single-engine aircraft lost control and crashed, and the Coast Guard discovered two bodies. No one that was flying the plane or anything like that, but two people died. The convenience of this is intriguing to say the least. The plane went down about a mile south of the airport. So, of this 300-person list of a prosecution witness against Netanyahu, Jaron was a very important one. And you, not claiming to know anything, tragedies happen. It's more of like I said in Janung and the Restless, we just don't see how these people can have such a disregard for life and any of the evil doings that go on. There's no proof yet that this is an evil doing. Greece is probing the plane crash for foul play. At bare minimum, it's really convenient for Netanyahu, right? Up next, General Mark Milley took secret action to secure nukes from unstable Trump after he lost the election. He called China's top military leader to reassure the country Trump would not attack in a desperate bid to stay in office. This is in a new book from Bob Woodward. Not a huge personal fan of Bob Woodward, but Milley is said to have told Chinese counterparts that no one would be listening to Trump. We also have quotes from CIA Director Gina Haspel. We are on the way to a right-wing coup. These comments, these stories, it's painting things in a fascist light when right now, as we sit in the current state of government, we debatably have a coalition of fascism happening where the actual figurehead isn't doing much at all, right? I mean, pick your evil, because both kind of, If you get calls, no matter who they're from, there's a process here, there's a procedure. No matter what you were told, you do the procedure, you do the process. I am part of the procedure. So Milley was directly inserting himself into any chain of command of taking action. He is in that chain of command anyways. But the undermining is interesting and strange, especially when we look at Milley's part to play in the recent pullout of Afghanistan, right? Now, in this right-wing coup narrative, police have requested reinstalling Capitol fencing ahead of the September 18th rally. The September 18th rally is in support of the January 6th rally, riot, insurrection, whatever you decide you want to call it. Now, why? What is being planned here? This doesn't seem to be something, at least from the postings on it that I can find, that anyone intends to take anything to the same levels. I mean, we'll see. There's loads of videos and first account witnesses of this fencing being, purposely helped move and things like that. I mean, what is the goal here? Both people said they would need to approach by the Capitol Police Board, which is composed of the Capitol Police Chief, the architect of the Capitol, and so on. If you've watched videos I've covered on bills before, that architect of the Capitol is an interesting one. But it's still happening. They think that it's going to anyways. They are asking for it. Now, in Congress as well, Senator Joe Manchin won't vote for the $3.5 trillion bill. What's the urgency? I reported on this with Dave in the Joint KRAKEN. They are trying to push this through in 17 days. That's too fast. No one can read that fast. The total amount is just too hard to sell to the American people, and saying the Senate Chuck Majority Schumer will not have his vote at that amount. This is huge because, as most of you know, the Senate is split 50-50. Senate Vice President Kamala Harris is your tiebreaker right now. So even one vote is a huge blow to the Democratic campaign for passing this bill quicker than most any bill has ever been passed, especially one that is the biggest spending change to our country in 50, 60 years, right? Vogue. Strange to cover from Vogue, but Vogue did not pay AOC to go to the Met Gala. At this point, most of you have seen her tax the rich, ironic as hell dress. Tweets from Jordan Peterson saying it looked like it was painted in blood. Tim Pool saying that's the Capitol Hunger Games style stuff right there. It's true. This is a $35,000 event, and kind of strange to wear a tax the rich dress to it. AOC claimed online that she'd been invited as an elected official of New York City. Condé Nast did not gift Bill de Blasio, his wife or son, or AOC, or her boyfriend tickets. It means someone footed the bill for the Democrats to attend the ultra-elitist event. Okay. Someone paid for them to go. But why isn't there being transparency about that? That's basically my real question here. Why make the statement you did and then not go full out and be transparent about all of it? You know? It's a shame. It's virtue signaling. It's silly. Now, also in New York, a judge blocks the medical worker vaccine mandate. The state of New York is no longer being able to force medical workers to be vaccinated after a group of healthcare workers sued, saying their constitutional rights were violated. Now, this is a temporary blocking. It's interesting to see where this goes from here. New York being one of the most forward-thinking digital wallets, passports type of people. But it's getting blocked. It's getting stopped. The interesting part here being that preliminary court order blocking for September 28th, an oral hearing will occur. So, there is no finality to this yet, but there is a temporary blocking of what some are calling totalitarian measures, right? Covering a little bit of my own local news, because I think that it's important to see this happens on all levels. The Muscogee County District Attorney Mark Jones is indicted by grand jury on 9 charges of misconduct. He was just elected in January 2021. He has 2 counts of influencing witnesses, 2 counts of bribery, 2 counts of violation of oath of public office, 2 counts of attempted violation of violation of oath, and 1 count of attempted subordination of perjury. The district attorney was a young, fresh-faced guy. He, in his campaign, did a campaign video doing donuts in a parking lot in the town. This somehow comes off as not a shock, while at the same time wanting to make clear here that corruption and bribery and collusion happen on all levels of governments and officials. So it's important here, and I'm glad for Columbus for doing this, that they are taking action against it. They're not letting it slide. This was big moves, I think, and I would love to see this happen on higher levels of government, right? The U.S. Coast Guard has spotted Chinese warships off the coast of Alaska. 4 warships, including one of its most advanced destroyers, were spotted sailing in the waters off Alaska late last month as the Chinese Navy steadily expands its range, according to photos. Why? Why are they there? We know that there seems to be a Russian and Chinese blockade of sorts in the South China Sea. We see these 4 Chinese ships cruising off the coast of Alaska. Albeit safe in professional interactions and verbal communications, non-legally binding agreements to prevent clashes at sea. Do we have questions about the biggest topic? I mean, this is weird. This is strange. As China, bolsters itself, there seems to be a writing off of it, a disregard. Oh, it's fine. The call that Biden and Xi Jinping had last week, where they wanted to make sure that their country stayed competitive without crossing over into conflict. This is counterintuitive to that at best. In Republicans of California, there is a recall election. Lots of Republicans show up to vote, and they're told that they've already voted. Why? According to a report from KTLA, some residents of the San Fernando Valley are saying that they wrongly are being prevented from casting a ballot. Some voters say they were told the computer showed them as already having voted, even though they had not. Far from the only person who's being told incorrectly that they had already voted. This is interesting. We'll see if this picks up any speed. We'll see what the outcome of this recall election is. But more election meddling, more, not even meddling in a convicted sense, but more election mistrust all over the place. And we have to wonder why are we able to mistrust elections? Why are these stories coming out period anywhere, right? Now, man from Germany arrested on suspicion of illegally exporting equipment to Iran's nuclear program. Police in Germany have arrested a German-Iranian citizen on suspicion that he exported 1.1 million euros of equipment to Iranian firms. Germany's public prosecutor announced that the man, referred to only as Alexander J., was arrested. The federal prosecutor's office said that 11 properties in these places, including the accused home and business premises, have been searched as part of the investigation. Prosecutors said that the accused have been approached in 2018 and 19 to locate and export laboratory equipment. Investigators claimed he procured 2 spectrometers for 166,000 euros each and shipped them to Iran. He allegedly did this again. So this is a normal citizen. Okay, we see a lockdown here. We see a crackdown. Iran's nuclear program is a interesting, worrisome thing. They have steadily increased their ability, their chances of having nuclear capability. It's not something to not be worried about. This multinational network of people helping other countries is interesting. I mean, terrorist cells sure happen, but I don't know that we call this a terrorist cell. This is like, just saying, this is like the U.S. having its counterparts in Afghanistan right now. They're being hunted by the Taliban, right? But we would think of those people as the good guys. This is a good guy for the Iranian people being prosecuted in a unfavorable country, right? So we have to look at things at all sides. In Central America, Haiti, prosecutor seeks charges against prime minister and president's killing. This is interesting. Haiti's chief prosecutor seeking charges against Prime Minister Ariel Henry in relation to the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse, accusing the prime minister of communicating with key suspects in the case on the night that Moïse was killed. This is interesting. The prime minister gives no credibility to these claims. Of course, he does not. There are enough compromising elements to prosecute Henry and ask for his outright indictment. There's no immediate comment from the prime minister, who's formally appointed to the post less than 2 weeks after the assassination, from his office. I mean, the same as the corruption witness. It is only point blank observable that people and parties did have something to gain from the people that died. And so it's worth looking into, bare minimum. If you have nothing to hide, just like they tell us, then you shouldn't worry about it, right? That is some news for the day. I hope you guys are enjoying yourself and look forward to Dave's update coming soon.